easy opponent, Trent.
No, they have been doing quite well throughout the whole DPC. Not quite winning tournaments. Close, even at Captain's Draft. Close.
Close.
Couldn't quite get there, though. But maybe they're just done. Maybe this is the closest they're going to get to Bucharest because, as you said, they're done. They could just be out of here if they lose this best of one, a single game.
Yeah, the Vici versus Vici J Thunder match was a little bit closer, but yesterday Payne just blew them out of the water. And I wonder if that's a fluke or if they're going to have a little more to show here.
They lost both games by the 28, 26-minute mark. That's fairly early for Dota right now. The question is, are they going to do the same thing here for LFY? And when we talk about those players, we got a matchup for you.
Yeah, let's talk about the future matchup here. What do we got?
It's our position 4.
Position 4. So old Lanham, now just tagged as Lanham, but he is one of the older players in the scene, actually. And Afu.
Beautiful matchup right here. I mean, Afu, the Earth Spirit God. Lanham, the Elder Titan God.
The God.
This is the Red Eye Mistake, the Elder Spirit.
The Elder Spirit,
This is him balled into one featured matchup. But, yeah.
So this is one of those matchups where you look at these two fours, and these are both really incredible players. Afu, obviously, a bit younger, newer on the space. Lanham has been around. If you've been following Dota for a decade, you've probably been watching Lanham. But two players very much known for making the big plays and setting up for their teams.
Yeah, heavy contrast between the two because, as you said, Lanham, the old guard. He's been there forever. Whereas Afu is this idea of trying to revitalize a lot of the Chinese scene where they're looking for players from Malaysia, other parts of C who have Chinese language. You know, maybe they're Chinese nationals or they just know Chinese, and that fit Afu, right? They brought him on in. Said, okay, we got to win some dotes here. Let's get this guy into China. Take him out of Warriors Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had my eye on the LFY team because they picked up Ohio, and that was a sort of a controversial change, I guess, a sudden departure for Ohio, and he found a new home relatively quickly.
Yep.
One of the best offlaners in Southeast Asia, I think. Obviously, Ice is up there as well, but I always have an eye out for Ohio.
The thing about Ohio, though, is old Ohio is a lot like Inflame. Old Ohio was. Ohio used to be crazy on the Bat Rider. He used to feed a little bit of that Sam H. Dota kind of style, where he either stomped his lane or, you know, he just kind of, he fed a few times, but he always bounced back, right? That was the Ohio strat. Now Ohio's playing like Omni. He's playing a batter.
When I hear Ohio, I think Nature's Prophet. That's the hero that comes to mind. I mean, he does have a set in the game for Nature's Prophet, so that is one thing.
I mean, that's what he was like, but he's not like that right now.
Well, he used to play that side. I remember he would be one of the only players to grab teleport, level 1, get those deep wards down early on, all sorts of kind of shenanigans that he would utilize with the Prophet. We've seen him actually play Omni Knight, I think, both matches so far in this group stage, and both times it felt a little flat, and he was able to find farm. He did fine in the lane, but after that, where does that farm go?
Yeah,
I mean, we've come back to this point.
He's playing very greedy, but he's not playing those initiators, and that's putting this huge burden on Afu, and he can't do it all, you know?
Yeah.
He's great on the Earth Spirit and everything, but Earth Spirit kind of likes having that follow-up. You don't want to be the big initiator, or you want some huge initiation after. Like, maybe he can set up a couple for a big Chrono or a big Ravage or something. Now, mind you, we cast a recent game of Ohio, Mott and I, with, he was playing the Faceless Voids on those off-lane Chronos. Didn't go so well. So don't expect any Faceless Void bans.
Well, a lot of those key heroes we talked about already banned out as we hop into the draft. LFY, they banned the Elder Titan, and now the Naga Siren. Vici Gaming, looks like they've done some homework on that Omni Knight. He'll be first banned, and shortly after, the Earth Spirit, and of course, the Gyrocopter. Nothing too surprising so far.
Yeah, we got ourselves the Razor remaining, and then we have this discussion of the BKB China meta, early BKBs, maybe looking out for that Bane in the first phase as well, if it remains here.
Yeah, Bane and Death Prophet, kind of the big two when you're talking about regional picks. Seems like Chinese teams really, really love those heroes.
These VG banners with the blue and white remind me of EG. That giant monster on it.
Ah, yeah.
It's like they snagged it from him.
It does actually kind of look like, even the Vici and EG logo have that similar kind of 3D feel to it. But first pick, Sand King. So one of the other supports, not necessarily the Bane, but still very versatile. Could also be that position 3. Feels like we've seen Sand King almost exclusively as a 4.
Yeah.
But still that versatility.
Yeah, it's still there, but it's just like if you can get that Blink Dagger early on, and you know, if you can play like King RD, you're gonna have yourself a pretty good time, even the 4 or the 3. The Keeper of the Light we've talked about a couple times for VG Gaming, but it has been a very important thing. It just keeps getting banned out in the first phase. No one's giving it to him, and that was that key hero that actually got them one game up against VP at Katowice. So rough. Once again, won't get it, so we'll see if LFY want to opt for that Ohio hero again. Will it be an early Abaddon? Are they worried it'll get banned out?
It'll be a first pick AA. Okay, another popular support we've seen, and then alongside the Death Prophet.
Okay.
We've definitely seen Ancient Apparition be pretty effective in dealing with DP, so picking them in tandem does definitely make some sense.
Yeah, and then this opens up those options once more where they had the AA plus the CK in lane. They could move into some of those other heroes. They like this hero in combination with one of those stunners in lane, be it CK, be it Wraith King, or may possibly even Sven, even though he's looking like a pretty dead hero at the moment.
You're really pushing the Sven. We spent some time this morning even talking about Sven, and I just don't get it.
I don't like Sven, personally. I like pretty much for the last like 2 months, every Sven game, when you look at this hero, he wasn't performing well because he has to be executed so well, right? You got to get those big jumps. You're an initiator. You're all this burst damage, and you also absorb a ton of farm. So if the person playing Sven doesn't execute like perfectly, you pretty much just lose.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were some games earlier today, especially that VP game. I thought that was like the best looking Sven game ever. And Ramsey just played Jug, fought a Battlefield, and game was easy anyway. So who needs Sven? Right?
Exactly. I mean, Battle Fury is so prolific now and a viable option on so many carries. Having that built-in cleave just feels almost like a wasted skill in some ways. Like, for so long, that's been part of Sven's power.
Hey, it is an NP, though. I mean, if there was ever a time, you know, there's some chances. We'll see if there was ever a time.
Well, the Prophet ends up on the other side of the coin, though. I was talking about the Ohio Nature's Prophet, and it'll actually be Vici that grab it for presumably the offlane.
Yeah. Now, they've been a bit sneaky in terms of some position 4 heroes, right? They've done the Brewmaster position 4 at Captain's Draft quite a few times. That was pretty fun to watch.
Oh yeah, you're right. We were really surprised to see that picked up, but it ended up working pretty darn well.
Yeah,
Didn't they do it in kind of like an aggro dual lane scenario?
Yeah, just like, you know, you get 6, you don't need items, it's fine. It can be a little tough to initiate with a Blink Dagger, but you just split in the fog, run on in. Lana was very good at it. We've seen Z-Freak do it as well, speaking of shenanigans with Nature's Prophet and Brewmaster. So it's very likely this is the 3 and 4. But there could be some mix-ups there.
And we have, I mean, Prophet can go mid occasionally. I don't think against DP it's the best matchup, but didn't we see that yesterday?
Yeah.
The Prophet versus...
I think Chessie played it mid, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a wash lane. DP does have some options there. Prophet dominates early on. Without rotations, it's really just a farm fest.
Well, more bans coming out here. Vici just going to target down the 4. I suppose in terms of Afu heroes left, they don't have that many options left now with both the Tusk and the Earth Spirit gone. Those are kind of his big 2, really. They used to play Night Stalker quite a bit, even when he had fallen off a little bit. I'm not sure if they'd be willing to bring that back, but that's been a completely absent hero, if I'm not mistaken, during this major. I don't think I've seen that guy yet. His time is done.
Yeah.
Night Stalker's over, guys.
How the mighty have fallen. Obviously, there's still some viability for like vision-based drafts. You know, that Aghanim Scepter gem, he still is sort of the king in that regard. But
paired with Disruptor, who's very popular right now. Speaking of which, also still in the pool for Vici.
But you're right, kind of forgotten about. So Shadow Fiend Quap banned out by LFY. Queen of Pain, another one. I feel like we've talked a lot as a potential pick in some of these drafts, but really haven't seen her grab all that much as Tusk Underlord are the next 2 banned by Vici.
There are some possibilities of IO strats as well, I suppose, but neither team really breaking out all too often. VG, very occasionally. I'm looking forward to some of the IO possibilities in our next games coming up. But the old TB, the I'm a good carry throughout the entire game, makes its way to the second phase.
Another one of these big cores. A lot of talk surrounding the Terror Blade. Pairs pretty nicely with the Death Prophet. Huge pushing prowess now for LGD Forever Young. If they win some team fights, they'll be able to transition into Roche, various other objectives very easily. And again, similar logic to having the DP with the Ancient Apparition on the same side. AA is generally pretty good against Terror Blade, so having them together does give you a little bit of additional security around
just
that
trying
pick.
to pump up magic damage with the Vortex, even with Chilling Touch too, pretty handy. As well, Nature's Prophet picked up so early. I mean, even in a meta where Terror Blade isn't good, he's considered a pretty decent hero against Nature's Prophet, because Prophet's going to be pushing these waves, and you want someone who can help deal with that, and he can just mass send illusions and everything. But at this point, TV is just considered every team has to be able to play him. He used to be a little bit more niche than that.
Yeah.
So very good pick here for LFY. Kind of surprised it made it through. Maybe instead of focusing down like the Tusk or something. But Ohio's hero also still remain to be seen here. They could be worried about the possible Bat Rider as well,
Yeah,
so that
exactly
might
what I was
affect the Vici pick here.
What else is still viable for the off lane?
I think they just pick Disruptor for now. I would think.
Vici?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dire team pick.
Because Prophet's going to like be pushing these waves, and you want someone who can help deal with that, and he can just mass send illusions and everything. But at this point, TV is just considered like every team has to be able to play him. He used to be a little more niche than that. Yeah. So very good pick here for LFY. Kind of surprised it made it through. Maybe instead of focusing down like the Tusk or something. But Ohio's hero also still remain to be seen here. They could be worried about the possible Bat Rider as well, so that might affect the Vici pick here.
what else is still viable for the off lane?
I think they just picked Disruptor for now.
LFY's turn to...
Change of pace. So Warlock.
Haha. Okay, so this guy used to be the counter to Terrible, right? Everyone used the Fatal Puns just to like break up all the illusions and everything. Plus from long range, you just dumped it all on top of him, trying to keep chain sending him, maybe through a KP. Interesting choice.
It sure is. I'm trying to pull up these patch real quick just to see. I think Warlock would have tweaked a little bit, but I'm spacing on exactly how he was changed.
I think it was the talent. Got that 60%
Oh,
talent,
he's the one that we were talking about. So he was straight off across the board. Level 10 talent, now 150 cast range instead of 125. Level 15, 60% XP instead of 40%.
What's the option
pretty
on
big buff
15
there? I believe it's Shadow Warrior AoE.
Yeah.
I'm going to double check.
No, it's not AoE. It just pumps up the kill, doesn't it?
So I need to,
yeah, it's at the bonus of the heal.
Yeah. So I know 60% XP is pretty good, but level 15 makes it a little more dicey, interesting to see what grabs. And level 20, the Shadow Word AoE was buffed up from 250 to 300, so that is a level 20 talent. You were correct. Interesting though, we haven't seen too much Warlock. He's a pretty versatile support, gives you some sustainability in lane, gives you some great team fight with the Rock.
5 seconds remaining.
A bit odd here though. I think one of the best things about him is that you can play him with like a Legion commander or someone who can play super aggressive. Prophet, I guess you can do that in a dual offlane, but he doesn't really need the help. It almost feels like kind of waste with the Warlock. Unless they can like super bully. So we'll see what they do. I'm happy to see Nick's team picked up quite a bit more. I think he was definitely looked over the past couple tournaments. He's just been like so many games where I was like, man, Nick's would be really good here. But we were much more on the Clockwork train back then.
Well, and again, the Ancient Apparition, I think it gives Nyx that extra little bit of kill potential. You know, he scouts somebody out. If you can connect to the Ice Blast, often Nyx will be able to do enough damage, just find a kill on a support, whoever else is relatively squishy, where without the extra damage, it might not be possible. So it does open up possibilities. It feels like they're building this team around the Ancient Apparition a little bit. I like that.
Yeah, and that's going to leave either Ohio's hero for last or Afu's. Could go either way with the possibility of the core Nyx. More than likely, it should be Ohio's hero, we'd assume. And I would guess they'll ban the Abba. Abba would fit very nicely with DP to Terrorblade, and also, once again, having the A on their side. It's all coming together for LFY.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to get banned, though.
Yeah, we've seen the Abaddon be pretty darn effective. That was sort of in that G Liquid game yesterday. A lot of folks crediting the Abaddon pick for they were able to hang on as long as they did. But here it is, Trent. So we talked about Arc Warden on the opening panel. He was one of the heroes changed the most in this patch, actually moving his 20 talent, which was a 10% cooldown reduction, now to a level 10 talent at 8%. Level 20, the old cooldown was replaced with just a straight up, I think it's 1.5 second cooldown off of Spark. Right. So pretty significant buffs for Arc Warden players out there. Of course, that 8% cooldown reduction at level 10 works on your Midas, all of those early cooldowns, so it allows you to accelerate much more quickly than in the past. But thoughts about the pick here?
Starting to get a better feel for this hero. It's only taken me like a year, but I feel like he operates a lot like Tinker in that like boot to travel kind of like game focus where you can like come in for kills. He can offer a lot of global kill potential. So in combination with the Nature's Prophet as well as like a lurking Sand King in trees, they have a really nice way to enable the Sand King in the mid game with the Blink Dagger. He could just blow up this TV over and over. And then, of course, when you think about TP sieges, he's just going to be down on the low ground, lobbing in those bombs, and you're just going to be putting up the magnetic field over and over.
10 seconds remaining.
I haven't seen really much from Arc Warden since the change in this patch, but he has a really weird power curve where he's incredible in those early stages in the laning phase where he puts a huge amount of pressure. We'll see Void be the final pick for Vici, so some more big team fight control to go with that Warlock and Sand King. But the Warden feels kind of weak and just needs to farm in that game. And then once he comes online, he's just this game beast that feels almost unstoppable with Tempest doubles.
This is a nice world Void pick though. Like they have so much calm. I don't know if you can for the Ava, like a Benj almost is kind of cool in the dueling. Now that is a Kunkka for Afu. It will be Ohio on the Nyx assassin, and then classic Afu hero. And a nice way, I was thinking maybe they could do that kind of off-lane Venge style that some teams have tried before where you duel it with someone like a Nyx assassin and you have to swap out for the Chrono. That's very good with Terrorblade. But this other option with the Afu is he's going to be the counter initiator now. He's going to be relying on that boat. He can use Torrent inside of the Chronosphere as well. And he also offers potential for the Arc Wardens to try and keep him locked down in these fights. So
how do you feel about the 3 Nyx though? I really feel like he has not been played as an off-laner all that much.
I think if we look at who his allies are, though, we've seen Prophets be super active. Now, speaking of super, one of the problems is I love the way no one has been playing that Death Prophet, right? A lot of people, not just him, but Death Prophet's been more active in fights earlier than I think we've ever seen her in the past couple tournaments. Like, people aren't necessarily just rotating Exorcism, going for a tower and everything. They're much more freely moving across that, big silences off, throwing those Crypt Swarms and running people down. Yeah, that worked with a Terrorblade. You know, he wants the guy who's getting some farm on the side of the map. The question is, can Super do that? The hero has been doing it on other people, or is Super Death Prophet, where he is much more structured and just focused. I feel like they need that active hero who runs around and does shit, not Alina that buys an Aggregates and Laguna Blades one person. Yeah. Right? It's just...
No, I would agree. And the Omni Knight might fit Nyx a little bit better, because if he gets that early farm, Nyx can do so much more of it. Yeah, you know, like the Aghanim Scepter, the Force Staff, the Blink Dagger opens up a lot of possibility, where Omni... Yeah, not quite the same.
Needs to just be enabled. Like, he's going to be running around with Ice Blast as well as Kunkka. Even those 3 can get kills. So maybe in that sense it's okay if Super isn't super active. But I do actually like the LFY draft altogether.
Really? Because I was kind of thinking the same about the V draft.
It's hard to judge Arc Warden, I find. They have a lot of split push with Nature's Prophet and Arc Warden. So he can also lob a lot of damage inside of the Chronosphere too. So early attempt at a first blood here.
Yeah, I'm also curious how the lanes will settle down. But Smoke moving in pretty deep. They bump into line. He's going to get caught by the Torrent from the follow-up will be there. He doesn't have the burrows to make it back to the tower. And no first blood will be driven, but very aggressive start from LFY.
Yeah, they should be able to get both these runes, but I'm sure they'll just pull up top as well. They can just send the Void and aggressive defender the other one.
And of course, with that global presence of Prophet, some of these early fights, there's always that potential to turn. You know, something that LFY will keep in mind, that you could have an even, you know, a 2v2 or a 3v3 in the mid, then all of a sudden all 11 comes in, and you got 44 or a 43 rather. Metamorphosis by Moe was also used for that, by the way, so that'll be on cooldown and not available for the first 2 misses on the stage.
Yeah, that was a greedy attempt, like a Sand King of all heroes.
Yeah, not a huge deal, but still a little bit unfortunate. Usually that is some secure for Terrorblade early on.
Yeah, and you might see 11 bully that as well. It's, Nature's Prophet generally considered one of the best offlaners for harassing the enemy carry. Of course, it's to a pretty stupid amount of damage early on, just constantly battering into you. But Terrorblade has very high armor. So starting right now with just 13, he isn't as bothered by the treants as most are going to be.
Pretty serious block here in the bottom lane between the Treant and the Sand King. Pretty good positioning for Vici in the bottom lane. It'll be a 3-on-2, both supporters from LFY starting down here. And it will be the Arc Warden versus Death Prophet mid matchup. And for now, it's a 1v1.
Yeah, with the 3-on-2, you can imagine most kills we have on that bottom lane. Very hard to set. Now they leveled Afu. Guarantee, or it's just going to be pure skill. A Torrent and Kunkka A
A, though, is a pretty nasty support duo. A lot of kill potential between these two once they get a couple of levels. About
high damage, but risky control. Neither have a reliable stunner.
That's true. X-Storm is sort of reliable, but I see your point. Pio up top taking a lot of damage from Fenrir. And able to survive through it, of course, pops the salve. The power of that early shadow very long to these all-laners. It's Assassin with all that base regen dealing with it.
Yeah, he's like a tanky guy, dude. Double
and he's got two mangoes, yeah.
7.6, but Warlock, what a hero.
Yeah, pretty incredible in this particular situation. Going to start running low on mana, but Fenrir off to a good start.
But Pio again, all he really needs is levels. We'll do for that high damage support duo of AA and Kunkka to kind of shore up anything that he's lacking. Before his glorious meteor hammer comes in.
I want to focus in on this mid lane a little bit. Rare that we have a true 1-1, at least for now. Seems like mid has turned into dual lanes and even tri-lanes at times in this meta. Who do you think wins this matchup, the Arc Warden on DP? I would have said Arc Warden, but it seems like Super is holding his own pretty darn well.
I mean, TP just wants to play up in your face, so that definitely benefits Arc Warden. He's relatively squishy early on. It just kind of makes sense. She'll be able to run him down.
Now down bottom, they did find that first blood. Monet able to grab it. The Metamorphosis came back up. That support, as we talked about, able to help set it up. It's early start for Monet, but back to the mid lane. Looks like a rotation is coming on to Super. Launch him around the backside. Have the Burrow Strike available. Connects, and now Ori with the follow-up. I don't think Super smile. And Arc Warden strikes back. Kill on the board for himself. Back follow up. Connect with a stun.
He's an arcane rune too, so Len's already raring to go here.
Yeah, just harassment. I mean, without pretty hard to actually find that on 11.
But look, as a Super now, he's getting aggressive because he can cluster in his lanes, the DP, just abusing that early soul type. And Len's just like, yeah, no, you're not going to do my middle. I'm going to come and suddenly the lane is dipping in the Arc Warden's favor pretty heavily.
Yeah.
While I was trying to grab a wave somewhere. He's just dancing around there. Fenrir. He's actually stuck. He's quelling like his way out of here.
Convenient wave.
Yeah, but he didn't get the wave, so like what tap.
Pretty brutal for the Nyx Assassin. You know, this is one of the reasons why I think we've seen him gravitate more towards the 4 rather than the 3 because in the early levels just isn't great. You know, Ohio's doing what he can to get experience, but it's tough.
Yeah, and he can't really rotate very easily into other lanes right now. Think about doing like a swap in terms of like he goes bottom or something, but you're too concerned because you TB, right? So it's not really much for all Ohio. Just gonna collect some patterns experience.
And the other problem is can't really jungle. You know, not really a hero that can kill stuff on the floor. So no backup plan. Down bottom again, 11. This is able to dodge the torrent, so just fine.
He'll get the wave this time. It looks like Fenrir won't go by his boots. So this is what Ohio needs to do. It's like he's only.
And you're right. This time he will be able to pull it off. Courier bringing in another set of tangos for him. James Sand King gearing up for a gank again on the Super. This
Fenrir is coming too.
Positioning maybe a little bit off.
He knows he can't do anything because he's getting pulled, so he just wants to come mid.
Yeah, Super with good positioning under the tower though.
He's got the warp with all the Fenrir TP into, so he knows there's something happening.
Yep, no kill. So great for Ohio. He's pulled that creep wave back behind between his tier 1 and his tier 2. So he'll get a couple last on the bottom. Again, sidestep the torrent, out stun on the Aku. They're going to try to turn the other way. Metamorphosis, they're going to let in Sand King. They go 1 for 1. Sand King falling first, and that will give LFY a small advantage in this trade.
Now they want to play a bit more aggressive with the Warlock here. Fenrir just come down, try and bully this TV. Yeah, we bullied the Nyx Assassin. How much is that really going to impact our game? Now there's a 2-level advantage for the Faceless Void. Paparazzi should be able to handle himself. Yeah, I need to actually try and put some of this sweet shadow damage onto the Spear Blade instead.
You know, speaking of the Void, I haven't really talked about Paparazzi, but his farm is pretty incredible. 34 and 25. You have Terrorblade. Super. That's it. We talked about Old Lemon being able to just join fights like that. That's the threat to deal with.
On the get an observer where he had to keep himself safe.
Up to Paparazzi just laying into Ohio. He's used his surface and in his pale already, so Paparazzi going to continue to find the auto attack. Back bashes.
He believe in the bash, dude.
Oh my.
Why?
He does the 3 points at the time. So
you gotta trust the bash, man. You gotta kill. Yeah. He's going to have such an early 6, though. There it is. All right. 6 minutes, and this was with the support. He's looking for quite a bit of it, just because of the 25 denies.
Yeah, the denies had up, but also the Roadblock was in and out of the lane. You know, time where he was chasing around the Nyx assassin and giving that void just complete free farm in the lane and all that solo XP.
Yeah, farmed the hard camp, too, with the wave.
Yeah, this is really a brilliant start for Vici Gaming here, up to a 2 lead already at only 6 minutes with Void at the charts, and even Warden had a pretty significant network advantage over the Death Prophet. He is playing this lane for about 6 rotations. Lana also uses they get super as a trade, and Vici have the superior numbers. Afu gets repelled to the tower. They will be able to chase him down, and Yao hiding in the tree line might be able to make it away. Lana gets vision, but does not go for the burrow strike. A 1 for 2 in the mid. Vici get the advantage.
Hero, though, I mean, she'll survive. That's essentially a 5-man gank with the double Arc Warden. She held her own for quite a while there, got some damage in there, was able to hit on the Arc Warden, so not the worst possible, but they're wrapping in here. They want this tower knocked down early for the DP. This is push that Arc Warden closer to Minus as fast as possible with towers.
Radiant's middle tower is
Armand
under
needs to
attack.
start shoving this as fast as he can, but there's just not enough time. He's very early to be only level 5.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, though. You have to support his Arc Warden early on. So that Midas timing is so key to unlocking his mid-game.
They're not going to bring him a chrono. Just I'm sure this is fine.
I mean, Void has unlimited space right now. No, why rotate him when he can just free-farm like this? He's getting pretty close to that Mask of Madness already. We're only 8 minutes in. Of course,
Radiant
will help. There's the glitch from the Radiance that will delay things, but without exorcism, very hard to mount at best. AA only level 4, so there's no Ice Blast, and even Kunkka, he's level 3. You know, you got a level 2 X-Force to spot that, great. But not a hell of a lot they can do.
Man, losing mid tower in 8 minutes. This is very painful. I think the team that lost the tower first lost every single game. It was pretty brutal. Obviously, you lose a lot of control over your makes these little camps here, but everyone loves to farm nice and safely. Yeah, very dangerous. So
yeah,
hard life.
I like the way they use the spark rates. The Arc Warden is all behind the tower, so they have to take damage if they want to get close enough to actually defend.
Yep, and now keep up that pressure going. 11 just down bottom. Let's start pushing this in. And once more, as you said, Paparazzi just not rotating. Level 8 up top. Wants his madness, so he'll still be pushing in top during all of this.
Down bottom 11. Down the top right will survive. Sprout not target points. He does some stick charges. Looks under on the line. But we have the damage to break him down with a Chronosphere. We absolutely can. They don't even need to couple of right clicks to the Void, and Ori will secure that kill. So no 1 for 2, loses the Prophet, but getting 2 and Monet in exchange.
Yeah, he super loves to do with DP, but he's so far away from the tower right now. Just gets that wave, and there's no one coming to the push out, so it delays the idea of trading Death Prophet. And Prophecy didn't have to burn the Chrono. There's a little bit of threat from that if he's ever not visible down.
Yeah. Oh, finally getting some space in the top lane, but Glenn right there to play the push and try to intercept. Continuing to make this Nyx assassin's life difficult, but Afu on the other side of the tree line, they are looking for an opening onto 11.
They know where he is.
Bottom tier line must fall in time. Monet gonna come up as they got him 11 point into X, not stun from Ohio, and 11 has 1. Sprout is a noble effort as he gets off the wrath of nature, but Monet.
That should be 6. It is indeed. So he wanted stuff done. Yeah, it was under attack. He can get the tunnel and he'll have Ice Blast, and looks like Kunkka might be the one to steal it though. We'll see what they do.
Down bottom, rotations from LFY.
Fender is a pretty juicy title.
Yeah, Kyle it out. And playing the mobile card at the moment, but it looks like VTR just going to back up. Boy, not use Chrono here. He also has the Mask of Madness. This is one of those situations where they need to be very careful of how aggressive they did to the Void. There's a sentry that Ohio walks right into it, and that will be a freebie for Paparazzi.
Well, that was push that tower to make sure weren't warriors in
the casual sentry ward is very lucky for the Nyx. Happen occasionally.
I mean, playing around with the world, they were definitely thinking that they knew he was 6, and they even pinged the trees when he was seeking. Like they were saying that he was coming through, so I knew he was looking scared. Starting to edge our way past the creep wave.
Yeah. All right. right. Ancient Apparition, the one lacking the ultimate right now. He's getting close to level 6, but I think held things for LFY quite a bit. We'll try to take a couple of these team fights.
Careful for Lanham up here. Awful.
Radiant's bottom
Here comes level 6. Burrow strike out. He gets pulled back. They're actually going to have the damage for this Monet trying to chase him down. Stick charges come. It's not going to be up. It's a failed gank attempt. Is now 11. TP's up, and they're going to try to turn the way. Go super. Also making the Vici needs to be very careful here. X is 11. He is going to be the sacrificial lamb. X is also getting played. Looks like LFY just want to turn this into a tier 1 tech.
Not for the Lanham. The stun except the pullback possibility. Now he's being watched as he shrines up here. Ohio needs a long bomb here.
Radiant's bottom tower
It takes
is
a
under
while,
attack.
but luckily he's storming a neutral camp, so it's going to be here for a bit.
Okay, invisible,
Radiant's
invisible.
bottom
Connects there. Stun from Mix, and this should be an easy kill on Delanum. The torrent will be there. He burrow strikes away. He's shattered. They need one
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And that from the wasted boat, too.
What a heartbreaker.
Then he just gets out. All right, sick.
Okay. Literally one auto attack. I think they would have had a shot there.
Yeah.
Big time. Paparazzi now going for the Shadow Blade on the Void. His farm continuing to impress, but going for that mobility tool to find the initiations.
Both towers bomb right now. Mid tower, tier 1 is gone. I mean, if they
Radiant's
start
bottom
shoving the top, where the hell
tower
are
is under
LFY going to go? Like, at least the Terrorblade, who's someone he can shove waves from more dangerous positions, but
So the rage of goal. So rods from the Dire.
that's not radiant jungle. It's over.
This is now the
They've
Dire
lost
jungle.
it. Yeah, they have annexed it.
Yeah, pretty much. One way for LFY to regain some momentum, though, I think it's with these Nixus in tandem with the Ice Blast. Sort of like we saw there on Delanum, but actually finding the kill. I mean, pickups do add up. Looks like they may try to set up until 11 here. Blast already flying through. Next, the Vendetta.
Oh, just clips.
They have the peg. 11 moving on the other side, though. Peg from the Warlock. Cinder comes out as Monet, taking a lot of damage. Will push back. No metamorphosis for 30 seconds.
Paparazzi wants it.
There it is. It's too late to save him. It does however get a counter kill on the Void. 1-for-1 on the corner, but now he comes in the back side, laying a lot of damage into the back line with a Warlock goal and charging forward. LFY probably won't take any more casualties, but their entire team being repelled right now. Also, no exorcism for another 10, so a tough time to take
Radiant's
a fight.
top
Yeah, because they're so
tower is under
behind though, that
attack.
is going to become actually their top one. Do you favor with a chrono on 2?
But a big sign of life for LFY. Super not going to be able to stop that TP from overhitting, and the Arc Ward will make it out.
And all of this, so you're seeing position 4 Lanham involved in 8 kills so far as assists, and now even with just 16 last hits, he's got that blink dagger thanks to all these towers being down.
Dude, on Sand King opens up so much more.
Especially with again this Arc Ward and just profit, just like global potential here is be quite absurd. I guess he's not gonna have his thoughts for it, but he wants that full Mjolnir.
Well, a manageable lead for Vici right now. 4,000 net worth, not insurmountable, but his
time is
big
money.
if it gets that Shadow Blade, things might get a little easier for Vici. LFY, in the meantime, they are smoked up as 4. Super does have an exorcism available. Pile leading the charge, been headed up. Looks like the rotation will come in.
Dire are scanning.
He does smoke.
Fine. So now
Dire
Wanderers on in.
structures are
They don't have
fortified.
time though.
Oh, Ohio's going to see him now, but there are a lot of teammates
Dire's
nearby.
middle
I'm sure he can
tower is
forget
under
this Ice Blast. Big time follow up is the boat. Kill.
He's believing in this year. So that's definitely the person I want to grab in that situation. Stop something to defend this tower, full stop.
Dire's middle
Yeah,
tower
metamorphosis
has fallen.
used to make it an easy tower kill. The top lane, 11 in that.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Man, so for 11 though.
Big item pick now on 11 the Orchid. So trends into Orchid. You stop off for the drops before Orchid comes, but a lot of lockdown now.
Yeah, he's just accelerated because of all this tower, so he can cast on some of the smaller items.
It's true. The net worth breakdown. You know, the Terror is farming very nicely. Actually, #1 now. But they have a slightly better farm distribution. Their cores all very close to each other, right behind the TB.
Yeah, you're gonna get this 3.5 that happens with the Kunkka and the Sang, or the Kunkka and Nick Assassin, right? He always first his kills.
And she ain't on the Kunkka helps break a little bit. Ryan comes down and just out of options. It's a
Dire's top tower is under attack.
gonna get well. He ends up with the ultra. Wow. It looked like it broke that fight so perfectly. Vork had to do that in the lane, couldn't pick up the DP, but the follow-up came down.
Yeah,
pretty much the perfect
Radiant's
warlock
middle
golem.
tower
It's such
is under
a
If
attack.
he had his Yule, the deep, there was a chance, but it just wasn't quite. And it's not
Radiant's
that
middle
it
tower
wasn't there
has
for
fallen.
survive. It was there. The silence, the easy. Looks like you got play. Paparazzi initiated. Look, just see him. Look, oh, yes, shit. Sorry.
and look at Oppo. We've got the right idea. The Kunkka can be so effective in countering the void in the kind of situation with the timing. Hard to line up. It's overwhelming amount of damage. Felt like LFY crumbles since the Chrono came.
Excellent. It's always a staple of a lot of good Chinese teams. They're still playing Death Prophet, using those cooldowns of Exorcism, using the same thing with Faceless Void, with the Chronos playing against
In a little bit of trouble. He's got he does have the dagger one, but he has the TP and he will be brought down. Yeah, nice little pick off. We talked about timing for that Yule Scepter though on DP. It's so crucial. If the Yule Scepter in that fight maybe could have been a little better, but without it, very low the DP to survive.
She's also got issues with the game. She picked up slowly that they have 2 ranged cores, the Arc and
Radiant's
the Aegis
top
Prop,
tower
and then a
is under
Void. So like,
attack.
you can't really soul save in Void because he's just going to be pronoing you and cheating and stuff, so you don't have that time. And then he'll just like time walk or something like that. So it's hard to actually make good use of this hero unless you're just like following up with your team and really they're the one who initiate. They're not able to find any of these good engagements when the only thing we're about to get was that when the Chrono was used. It's back up already.
Yeah. Now only one outer tower remain for LFY. Only 18 minutes into this game. We will see him smoke up and look for maybe a Roshan. Maybe an Exorcism. How is that more available? So it's a relatively good time to try and take a fight. Also, Manta style just completed on Terrorblade.
Double shot blade now here as well. 11 and Paparazzi ready to run around everywhere. But how about this Terrorblade? This is he's really farmed, honestly. Like, there's not many cores that could be this farmed in a game like this where you're terrified. I mean, you could just be done. But they have to set around Terrorblade more for sure. As he is done now as well, but he's got that and 4 wouldn't have that this long, so they'd be more and just send fusion to dangerous areas. But
I guess what scares me is just the amount of lockdown on that Chrono, Warlock Golem,
they know then it is for
until BKB, like Terrorblade, despite being so farmed, is still vulnerable. But could see an initiation up top. Step in first is one of half HP. It's the Warlock Golem connected to the follow-up Chrono. Ohio will be the target of choice. We'll see soon. A little bit of time. 11 now going to have to go forward with the rest of the fight looking great for Vici. Left all alone. He covered used Sunder. And it doesn't matter how you're not going to be able to handle the center from Lopana. Another great fight for Vici. 4 nimble Trent.
Oh, precision tactics there from Vici. I love the way that the Chrono comes down, the ulti is well from Fender, and then 11 is and kills the AA. No chance of big well. 3 heroes there, and maybe that's enough while they come through and clean it up, but supporting cast the team. Yeah, we know. You're top of the next chart, but we're not
no, it's an easy road for Vici. Blast those come in, but doesn't those things that much. Now an Aegis of Immortal will be secured by a Faceless Void, who also be just working on that Mithril Hammer, and Magic Immunity will be his. Also the Yulner now up for, so pretty standard build. The RPG's coming next, but he is starting to accelerate Trent. This is just the beginning.
This is a Warlock plan game, honestly. Like, of all the Prophet games I've seen, felt like he's been suffering because all he can do is go into a fight and break a bunch. That's pretty much it, right? And he hits hard. There's good about that. He's really weird off-lane range scorer. But every fight, he's just dropping the rock. Like, they're never taking a fight without it. So you have essentially 2 massive AoE spells from your 5 and your 4, which isn't a common thing, but that makes up for the fact that your offlane isn't providing that feed as the initiator. So it's free throw, and he just orcs the target and blows somebody. Absolutely. All dealing with the map pressure of Terrorblade. Like, they've been forced into any bad trades due to like Terrorblade pushes at all this for PG because of them to profit.
Vici has made it look easy. Like, they're fighting around their cooldowns to work, and we've seen a lot of other teams draft similar strategies and not be able to execute it nearly as effective as we're seeing here. BKB is on the way for nature's profit, so it seems like Levin and Parok kind of hearing each other's builds a little bit. Could be Shadowblade in BKB, but fits this game perfectly.
He's on the hunt here. Just profit. These chance. He's got to be around here.
Set up, make sure that connect.
Too sneaky though. Found out here.
They're working on Kane Pike. I don't know. I don't see super commonly on territory. Always do this when there's so much control.
The really fair thing is it hasn't really felt like Ori's had to do anything in the game. I mean, he's always keeping up with the push and everything and aiding, but
he's mostly just maybe dropped a couple of spark rates, but it's a pretty economic game.
Yeah, most of the fun and he throws in those last couple right clicks. It's like, I know, you know, the Fate Bonds are probably gonna take care of him anyway, and
he's playing it Z-Freak style.
When he has the blink, it is just, oh, this Arcborn hero is disgusting.
And he's darn close. He actually set the BOTs for now, and he's just going to right into the blink.
Yeah, this has become the standard build. You just get like this mouse into the Mjolnir right for the blink. It's kind of weird. It feels kind of counterintuitive, but you don't necessarily need the bots that early unless you're like being pressured or something.
Depends on the style. Right? There is definitely some merit to early BOTs and just putting split pressure around the map, but that's just not cheap strategy this game. They don't need to wrap. They're winning just 5v5 team fights right now. So Blink Dagger definitely suits that style much more than Travel. Void in front line here. Still some time left in the game. Just seems Vici want to make use of it.
So you guys want to fight?
And then that's probably going to do something that can dodge this fight, I think. Just gets by some they'll just continue to farm on the map and turtle up on the high ground. Good high ground defense for LFY this game, though. Not something I mentioned, but Nyx, Kunkka, and all pretty good at defending these tier 3s.
But not when there's a Chrono. Yeah. Sorry, not when there's, well, definitely not when Chrono, but not when there's the clone. I mean, if you don't want to put a big clone, you don't want to pop in these big ultimates on the Aegis, so. Although I admire the fact that they're like, in fact, they're playing, it is really tempting to try and high ground with this Aegis here. But I guess I'm just going to say, listen, we have an Arcborn, we have an Aegis Pro. There's no reason to rush this. We should create a split push scenario, just try and put them up, get it before we go high ground, force that bot back, keep playing that very painful, torturous game against LFY.
Yeah, you're controlling the map like this, and over time, the farm is just accelerating. Some of that is from the objectives. Now that all the outer towers are down and Roche is dead, we'll see if they're able to maintain this level of farm. But Arc Warden, man, he just absorbs creeps. It was like he's going to queue up a Nullifier next. Still a little ways to go, but an interesting show. The Arc Warden.
Interesting. So look at him. He's thinking for an Eon this year.
Yeah,
he's actually got enough here in 600 gold. He'll have the recipe, and he can just assemble his bots.
Kind of peculiar. Not a common thing. We'll see so
I think I know why he might want to
yeah, well, now we see it. He'll be able to dodge the ice blocks. If he survives this, it will be quite the miracle. They will be able to lock him down. So
I guess we fixed it. Well, he was fine. Because then you were going to negate all the damage from that big combo. Because they all have the layer, the Kunkka, as well as the Nyx. So, makes sense. Yeah, okay. I mean, Force Staff would be the other item, but
it's a more conventional item, I'd say.
Or Euros.
But we'll see how it works out. I don't want to preach.
Right? We got to get some more rack.
Also, Nullifier coming in Nature's Profit. So a lot of data mirroring, kind of as we talked about, but double Nullifiers queued for Vici. So I mean, I guess in theory, right?
Where's the second one?
Prof and Arc Warden.
Oh, does he? Oh,
he had it.
Invisibility.
Maybe they made the call Nature's Prophet instead of him.
That's what I thought.
So
Time is money.
Any active items obviously only John Arc Warden. That's part of the reason why Mjolnir is so good.
Exactly.
Because you get to use it twice.
Exactly.
So no, all the same logic. And plus DP, you're going to take away. They can see who's building a DKB.
Arc Warden's re-queued it up again.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, that's great. They can put one on TB, one on DP, and have one extra clone.
Yeah, incredible. Like Yulster is the reset Super relies on. Take that out of the cards, and it just makes the Orchid that much stronger against the Parablade if he can't manta out of it.
Man, look at Ohio. He's just, hey guys, found the Arc Warden. We
There's absolutely no way the Nyx Assassin survives this one. And now that he knows they have a gem, he'll probably be playing just a little bit more conservatively. I think that was the reveal that picked up.
Or he said, clone on tree and super.
He can beat from Super. And of course, he will survive a 10-second BKB charge for basically nothing. It's very disappointing. I'm not sure, Trent. That was very clear.
Maybe I think he might have thought it was a real. I mean, honestly, it doesn't BKB. Could have just brought the real one too, and then maybe Prophet TP's up and you die. So
I mean, it's
like
why he did it. Been sorry, but still, that really hurts. That's at the very least a moral victory there for Vici. Eon Disc also queued up Prophet. We've seen that a number of times. Pretty effective. So gold lead, very slowly continuing for Vici to about 15k net worth now at 27 minutes.
There has been one constant this game, and that is that VG is winning.
Yes. Really has not a moment where it felt like LFY was in control of this game. And you know, we talked about that farm disparity where TB's at the top, but then all three cores of Vici are right there with it. And then you see that big drop off. The depth that maybe big, it was just falling further and further behind in terms of farm. BKB did come on terribly, but not one of the heroes that plays particularly well from behind.
Yeah, and just like you got an Arc Warden and a Nature's Prophet in your team. It's for every farm.
Yeah,
like it's not shocking. He's behind. He's like, all right, I can make space for you guys. I'll have the shadow to beat up the pedal line. I'm gonna bash him up for you guys, but overall, his hand in the gold over.
Double damage rune on Void right now. It's like they'll use it for farming, but always scary to see this in the game.
So mid though. This is that kind of opportunity. I mean, you can't sit in your base. You're going to lose. Just try and make some sort of a play. And we've seen TV teams come back because the hero does stay farmed like this. There's a chance you can just everything. They're postured around Roche. But there's a scan from the Dire, and they see them.
I mean, only 9 levels until that Thunder gets down to a 5-second cooldown.
Is under attack.
Board's going to be taken out, though.
Just 9 levels.
Only 9 levels to go, but
practically there.
See if we can hang it there. Roche is also
getting
respawn.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
all
attack.
the gold. I'm also going to need your domes.
I'm fall back to old Alchemist days, but here we go. Lana walks up to the high ground, finds stun on the final spear available for Conrad. Doesn't have the BKB, maybe a little bit early as he did sidestep the torrent anyway, but better safe than sorry, thinking that LFY may chip in for a counter initiation and just being a quick pick. And perhaps we'll see Vici just walk into the Roche pit now. And that is exactly what all part of the plan. Roche 2, so just use. Just want to be contested. Let's see how this last fly in. That'll be cute, but really no way LFY can stop this. On disc and keep him off bit. He doesn't have this is actually kind of to go down here. That's a worthy distraction to pick off Roche. Lanham, the sacrificial lamb. Also back from the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, he's coming in here too. They want to take it. Oh, there's a sentry, but yeah, he's just gone.
No one TP's. Okay, so bigger gold lead for again losing that gem. Definitely does hurt. Yao will be the one to pick it up, so maybe a little more vision control will come back for LFY. However, on the flip side of things, this Void continues to accelerate his massive farm. That's a Monkey King bar now in the inventory, so he's hitting hard, he's hitting fast, and evasion will no longer be a channel free card for his Terrorblade if Butterfly was a reality. He is just going to go for the Scotty instead, so maxing up on it's no big surprise. However, Vici, I think they might try a high ground push relatively soon here, Trent.
Time of game. we had been waiting for. They don't necessarily need the big pickoff. Now they have the cheese.
Going to have to no paparazzi needs to be a little careful about how to use his Shadow Blade. Same goes for Ohio though. Vici, expect them to be prepared with finishes in a push situation like this.
Very patient. I mean, this is elimination. There's a reason Vici are not taking any chances, right? 28 lead, 20 kills.
Absolutely.
Matching up quite nicely here.
Worth reiterating, both these teams 0-2 in this group stage. 3 losses is a big number for elimination. So somebody is going home early at the end of this game. Right now, it looks like it's going to be LFY. Let's not count our blessings too early. Also, that nullifier has been completed on Arc Warden, so something else to keep an eye on for in this next team fight.
Yeah, they target that TB. There is no saving support here. You don't really have a good way to do anything about that. I mean, put the maybe I
mean, look how much damage it does. The nullifier almost finds a kill just with the tip of it.
Radiant structures.
The Vici just chipped the tower and comes off. Very patient here with the Chronosphere. Paparazzi hiding behind this little tree down at the bottom, not giving them any kind of vision. Sentry Ward's being pinged out. He does get caught by an X-Torrent, but they don't want to jump out of the base to take the fight. Good patience from LFY not to move out to the low ground. See, it's pretty difficult for Vici to break, but at the same time, they can just continue this slow siege, and since the glyph is down, very hard for LFY to stop this little chip damage to their tower. Keeps you can do first the fall, and she will. Now the rock Monet in the front line. Vici pretty healthy. The time walk will help Boyd just a little bit, but they do bring down Fenrir. It's a 1-for-2 in the back line. They're doing a lot. Now the epicenter comes. Huge damage on the tower. And it does still find the Sunder. Lana still flying. He gets off the dust, and it does help him on KB. He wants to be the arena on a lot. He's getting so bad. It's 5 backs on both sides now as the Arc wants to get back into this fight. Food.
Yeah, timing here, they're showing up. He has that cheese.
He does still have so they bring down Paparazzi. He's coming down. Now the flies and this Kunga is going to be done for. They kill it over Lance. I don't know if they'll be able to kill him again. The Nullifier are doing so much work. Stevie gets repelled back to the well. It's a little sloppy from Vici. Still standing. Rory actually caught him and bring it back to die back to the Arc. And now Paparazzi trying desperately to make it away. The tier is fallen, and now the Kunga's back. They're going to have an X-Torrent bow momentarily here. Boyd, he pops BKB and he'll just TP out. Looks like he'll be able to make it.
Yeah, damage, but not quite enough there. All right, so Coxley in the end, right? They actually, they do gain some gold here. It's not much. We're still up 21K. Not a huge issue. It's 3 buybacks is the bigger thing. But hey, they lost the buyback on that. That's something.
Yeah, I like the idea from Ori. When you see that LFY is committed so much in a fight like that, you think to yourself, if I wipe them again, they can kind of just win the game run. So I think heart in the right place, and also here like Arc Warden, he got right. He'll be able to recover from this dieback maybe a bit better than the DP or the Kunk, for example.
Ohio has this gem. Stocking up old 11 here.
Oh. BKB and a Scythe of Vice. The Ice connect. BKB gets used. Okay, it is getting back. Turn off to Ohio. Will find a little bit of time. Let some right clicks and combo. Will not connect. And 11 will just find that kill on Ohio. Now to make way as Monet joins the party. With the flash. Okay. I think if you're the Nature's Prophet, you're sort of okay with it, at least trading 1-for-1 before we go down.
Well, I mean, you got the trade, but
it's not great.
Good pick up. I'm happy with that. Just trade up next lesson for Prophet. Lane pressure relieved right now.
When you look at the gold exchange, it is a pretty big gain for LFY, so it makes a small dent into that lead that it was growing and is now kind of stymied. I have a feeling that we'll be waiting for next Roche before Vici try this again. Of course, it'll be Roche 3. He's Refresher
Radiant's bottom
with
shrine
heroes like Warlock and Void. That Refresher Shard is actually ridiculously valuable.
Yeah. Same thing for the Radiant, though. You know, maybe they're the ones who get it, so.
That's
Yeah,
like
okay.
both sides with a
Radiant's bottom shrine has fallen.
very high on that list.
I'll take your tribute. As foretold.
All across the map, everyone really fight each other. All the cooldowns are up and available, but LFY, they still need that one fight.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. That last fight, there's one hero that was crippled
Radiant
throughout.
are scanning.
It's Super. You look at his farm right now, he is the Sand King is dipping at his heel in terms of all that.
Yeah, he did a great job throughout the game, honestly, because TB was the one who was push the dangerous areas, and even in these parts, it was hard to find much. He's basically being surrounded by most of his allies, so his XP staying pretty low. It's a tough situation, but he actually did fairly well. But yeah, at this point, it's he's going to start falling. He's being focused every single fight. They're looking to get him inside that chrono. Just
Radiant's bottom barracks are under
doesn't really have a lot of plays.
Vici with a lot of ways to deal with these BPP, the Hex on Nature's Prophet, the LFY that we already talked about.
Just punish that heavy those train up the
Dire are scanning.
love that punishment. Now with them, they're looking for someone a bit super here. I think they're just no, so they're not aware. So what Super's up to.
Still a little time on road, 40 seconds. So just right now, you look at the vision. They have one ward down, and it's right outside of their base and soon expire. So you can understand why they're playing with such a conservative position, particularly locked on their side of the map behind the tier 2s in this little area. Nowhere to farm, but they know if they go out of the base without buybacks and they start getting picked off, that is a first-class ticket for Vici to just close out this game.
They need to save a ward for whichever lane they push for VG. They want to catch all the angles with big initiations
top
from
shrine is under
the faceless
attack.
void. That's what that one will place kind of off to that side. Expect that vision, like try and seek out on the high ground, and you're gonna look for that big chrono.
Radiant's top
kind of
shrine
plays
is
in.
under attack.
If you're super cautious and you get the vision off and stuff, like, okay, we know where they're coming from. It still it's outboard, right? It takes his code and it just blinks on him. It costs him nothing but 36 seconds. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, part of what makes this hero kind of ridiculous. He does also have a BKB now, that first 10-second card ready to go. Ohio charging out of base. Maybe needs to be just a little careful, but they did X him, so they'll pull real options. Okay. Well, Roche actually up in a
I was drawing the line, dude. Oh, yeah. Super's drawing another line, though. Who are we going to listen to? What's Super?
LFY, they're going to move out. Scotty, so up on the Terrorblade. Big chase potential. Can they find the opening? Angle to initiate the Nature's Prophet is the only one that would now, of course, can teleport in. Roche now coming in about 35 seconds. So this is a great time. And we're moving the tank. Breaks the smoke on Super.
Oh, maybe just go back to farming.
I don't think they saw Super though, so
no, they don't know.
Firm vision. Vici very stood up right now. This does present an opportunity for LFY. Very hard to capitalize on, especially now that the smoke is broken.
Yeah, they're all monsters.
But he'll be the first casualty of this fight. Super with the BKB on top, the exorcism, but he's on the run. The fish off now through trying to TP, does take it out, but with 2 dead out by the Vici will feel very safe taking the road and secure another achieved in that pressure shot for the belt.
Every fight at 2 or 3 in chrono and then instantly followed up by this is the no digby double. And it's going good use. They are not out of this tournament. They're
25k net worth lead now. Super just about to lose his answer to the escape. You'll TP is locked down and suddenly double. The Nullify are doing so much work in the play from Tonka. Really not going to do a hell of a You'll set box before he secures the
Radiant's bottom barracks
now
are
the
under
Prophet's bought back. They're on the
Radiant's
paparazzi. He disrupted. And on the other side, getting chased down, but it's it's kind of just a distraction out of the base. Kona gets turned into a little piggy. He'll get right-clicked bottom 11, and it is a full bomb on the end. And after spawn at the bottom, and Trent, we could be just moments away from a good PG gaming. No, there's no buyback. Oh, no, they have to be forever so possible. You can't miss them at this point. They've been a terrible. But Pain beat VG. He on him. He game the three Goliaths that LFY had to face in this Swiss group stage. Very unfortunate for them, but this looks like it was the end of the run and make creep has now been secured. They're going to back off though. And LFY are sticking in it. They know they have terribly. They're going to believe, at least for a moment. We'll see if they're just sobering up right now. They're actually going to try and stick to it. The problem, though, Trent, is all those roads are still in the inventories of Vici gaming. So there's going to be a literal double bubble with this Chronosphere.
Yeah, Thinner's buying a 42-minute Spirit Missile. That's just rude. No charges even. You'd think of a Super Edge come with them.
Well, I just if Void uses the first Chrono and then uses the Aegis, the Refresher Shard's pretty good, but he only has 650 mana, and the Chronosphere is 300 mana, so...
No Shadow Blading.
Yeah, you're not Shadow Blading, you're not Time Dilating, you're not really doing anything but the double bubble. Maybe not the ideal Refresher Shard carrier in this scenario, especially without a stick or anything like that.
I'm sure it's fine. He'll just walk in, dude. He'll just BKB, Chrono, then he'll just do it again.
I mean, you're right.
Mana. Except for Lana, I'm getting rid of those, man.
He's swapped it Daedalus now for the power trip.
Alright, so he's not gonna walk it, he's gonna walk into the phone.
Rainfall style, smoke up, and initiation from Tage. They're gonna jump right on the terrible get things started. The first immediately going on front. But it's at the end,